Santa Maria, Dios del cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Santa María, Dios del cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Santa María, Dios del cielo, santificado.
Honor and respects in the name of the Father in the heavens, the Mother of the earth, your ancestors, and your spirits, your mysteries, your misterios. This is Asista Brujo Luis, and the video today is going to be on crystal balls or gazing balls. How to use a crystal ball, how to bless it, how to purify it, and how I personally use the crystal balls in my spiritual work. Traditionally, this is the oldest one that I've had. I've had this crystal ball for 18 years, and this one right here, she's much bigger, 200, I think it's 200 mil, I don't know, she's big, but I've had her for 2 years. And when you come for a reading in my house, or if I'm reading you on the telephone, if I'm doing a spiritual consultation on the phone, I will usually have a candle lit, a glass of water, and if I don't have a glass of water, I will have this crystal ball or this gazing ball in my presence. And usually I read with it, depending. Some people like the tarot, some people want a reading with la baraja española. So I use these cards to divine. And this is what you will see when you come to my house or you get a phone reading by me. But I always have my crystal ball. Now this one I've had for 18 years, and like I said, I've had this for it's going on 2 years now. But the first thing you want to do when you get your crystal ball is to make sure you purify. You purify it. Okay, so sadly to say, the crystal ball was it's a very ancient tool used for divination. Okay, and sadly to say, within modern times, it had lost. A lot of people were not using so much the crystal ball or the gazing ball, but recently there's been a resurgence in interest in using this, the crystal ball along with tarot for divination or fortune telling. And a lot of people think that I sit here and gaze at a crystal ball for hours and wait for messages to come through. It can work that way, but usually what I do is when I'm reading my cards and I get stuck for a moment, I look at the crystal ball and it helps me focus, get back into focus, and gives me more clarity on what I need to say. And then I go back into the cards. And then sometimes I do get images. Images do pop up into the crystal ball, within my subconscious mind, and I see images in the crystal ball that helps me give the client a better reading. So the first thing you want to do when you get your crystal ball is you want to purify it. You don't know who may have touched the crystal ball and impregnated it with their impressions before you get this, the crystal ball into your home. So the first thing you wanted to do is purify it. You want to cleanse it. And the best and easy way to cleanse your crystal ball is by running it through cold water. I use cold water. I don't like anyone touching it. If someone does touch the crystal ball, because people are curious and they like to touch things, I immediately, after the person leaves, I'm not rude, but when the person leaves, I cleanse it with the water. Sometimes I mix water with blessed salt and I cleanse the crystal ball, or I let it running in cool water to remove any vibrations that are not my own. Okay, so that's the simplest and easiest way to purify it. Another way is to blow, have incense, fumigate it, fumigarlo with some form of incense. sage, tobacco. You can purify that way. Okay, I've heard of some people burying the crystal ball. I don't do that. I bless it and I purify it with cool water, and sometimes with tobacco or sage or an incense. And like I said, I let it run in cool water and I wash it down. After you purify your crystal ball or your gazing ball, the next thing you want to do is consecrate it. And the ritual that I'm going to do is one time that you do it, and then after that you do a shorter version of it. But the first time you get your crystal ball and you purify it, you want to consecrate it. And I like to start consecrating the crystal ball, or la bola de cristal, on the first quarter of the moon, when it's going from crescent to gibbous. And it's usually, the moon is around 7 days after the new moon, which is going into the first quarter. And then 7 days after that, it will become the full moon. So what I like to do is I like to sit and, for an hour, place the crystal ball in a windowsill where the rays of the moon will come and consecrate it. And I do that for like an hour. And sometimes, when I consecrated this one, I sat there and I you just consecrate it. You don't have to say anything. You can leave it there for an hour. Make sure it's around from, it could be in midnight, but it should only be for an hour. And then you take it away from the window. You want to make sure that your crystal ball never sees sunlight. It's a big no-no, okay? No sunlight. It's actually very dangerous, and it could create a magnifying glass which will burn anything. And it's just not really good for your crystal ball. It's just to be safe, okay? So start on the first time that you get it, start on the first quarter when the moon is going from crescent to gibbous, and from the new moon to the first quarter is 7 days, and then 7 more days for the full moon. So it's usually 2 weeks before you get to the full moon. On the night of the full moon, I bless it again. I consecrate it again for an hour. I let the rays of the moon purify it. Okay, give it its energy. Okay, if you don't have a window where the moon shines, or the rays of the moon shines on your crystal ball, then the best thing to do is light candles around the crystal ball. So you can put candles around your crystal ball, and at midnight for an hour you consecrate it. Okay, you let the energies, even though the rays of the moons are not hitting it, but you visualize that the rays of the moon is consecrating your crystal ball or your gazing ball, and you should only leave it there for an hour. Okay? So after you purify and you consecrate your crystal ball, your gazing ball, your spear, try to bless it periodically during the night of a full moon. Again, you could place it by a windowsill and let the energies of the full moon bless the crystal ball. Again, if you don't have access to a window where the rays of the moon is able to purify it, again, you can use the candles around it and do it for an hour, remembering that your gazing ball, your crystal ball, your spear should never see sunlight. It should never be, in the presence of sunlight. Sunlight to a crystal ball is like garlic to a vampire. It's a big no-no. It destroys, and it pretty much destroys everything that you've worked hard, in purifying, in blessing your crystal ball. So please Keep it away from sunlight. That's important. So again, after you consecrate it and you purify it, try to periodically during the night of a full moon for an hour, blessing it by letting it receive the rays of a full moon. Again, if this is impossible, light candles around it and let that energy bless your crystal ball. The final thing that you want to do to your crystal ball is to baptize it. Okay, many people in Latino traditions baptize their crystal balls. If you practice a European pagan tradition, you can baptize your crystal ball to a deity, one being Luna, of course, Diana, Juno, or Selene. Okay, you can bless it in the name of one of those lunar deities. In a Latino tradition, you can bless it to a spirit guide, a gitana, or a madama, or you can baptize it in the name of a santo or a santa. Two popular santas that you can baptize your crystal ball would be to Santa Clara, which we also call Sanse Clariver, or Santa Elena. Okay, and you can bless it, you can baptize it with any prayer that you choose. En el nombre del Padre, Hijo y Espíritu Santo, yo te bautizo en el nombre de Santa Clara, aclárame los caminos, aclárame para poder adivinar. You could say something like that, or any prayer that comes from your heart when you baptize it, and baptize it so that it's an object, a sacred object to either a saint, a spirit guide, or if you follow a pagan tradition, a deity of your tradition. The final thing, when you're not using your crystal ball, make sure that, especially after a reading, you cover it, okay? You can cover it with any type of cloth that you want. Usually, traditionally, it is covered with a black cloth, okay? Of course, you can do it much prettier than what I'm doing with one hand, but, you can cover it with a nice black cloth or keep it in a dark area where it will not be disturbed, where not too much traffic, is in that location. So keep your crystal ball in a place where there's not, when you're not using it, in a place where there's not so much traffic, not so much disturbance. Okay, so, always keep it covered and bring it out when you're going to read, when you're going to divine, and you can take the cover off, and of course place it in front, and then you just start either using your tarot cards or your baraja española, whatever you use to read with, and it helps. It really does help you consecrate. It helps you concentrate on the reading. It improves your intuition. It improves so much. It helps you concentrate. Whenever I'm doing a card reading and I get lost, and I'm reading a client and my brain, I can't think of, no messages coming to me, even though I'm looking at the cards, I look at the crystal ball for a second. Always helps me focus and get back on track on what I need to say to the client. A lot of people say that the base is very important. This is the base that came with this crystal ball, so I've kept it. This one had this. It was like a plastic base. I didn't like it. Some people say it should be the base similar to John Dee, or it should have a pentagram. The base of your crystal ball should be what you like, how you enjoy it. I liked this base. It's been on it since I've had it, and I've always been there. So make sure that it resonates with you, that you like it, that it feels comfortable, that it feels good when you're looking at your crystal ball. You know, a lot of people say, oh no, you have to have a base just like John Dee. It has to have a pentagram. It has to have a sigil. It has to have this. And you know, no. This is personal to you, and it should come, you know, it should be personal to you and the way you like it, the way you enjoy it. So, you know, the base is very important. Remember that when you're not using it, to cover it with a black cloth and keep it away from high traffic areas until you're going to use it for, you know, consulting or divining. Final thing that I would like to say is I use a lot the gazing ball or the crystal ball when I'm meditating, when I'm quieting my mind. You know, sometimes I just sit in front of the crystal ball, and I gaze into it, and I just let my mind go. Okay, and sometimes I do see images. Okay, and I do see visions. Can come from your subconscious mind, or you can actually start seeing images within the crystal ball or the gazing ball. This takes a long time, and a lot of clients don't have patience for that. So what I usually do is just for myself. And when I see images, I've created the system that works for me. Okay, when I see images on the top or on the northern sphere, it would be future events, okay? Things that are going to come into play within the future would be in the northern side or on the top side of the sphere, okay? And the bottom would be more past, okay? While in the center of the crystal ball is the present. Left-hand side, if I see any images on the left-hand side, it would demonstrate obstacles that I am personally going to go through or facing. While on the right-hand side would be blessings. Blessings that are coming or unseen blessings. So remembering that this is future events, past events, present, obstacles, and things to come or blessings unseen. I use it for meditating. Sometimes I like to focus, and if you can see that image, it transforms. You're gonna be surprised as the more you use it, the more you will start seeing images, and it's a beautiful tool to use for divination, for communicating with your spirits, remembering that in prayer we speak to our spirits, we speak to Bon Dieu, to God, and it is in meditating that we hear our spirits. And a crystal ball, a gazing ball, or a gazing mirror helps us to quiet the mind, to concentrate in order to receive messages from our spirits. So this is a beautiful tool. It's a wonderful tool. I recommend it for all who divine with tarot cards, with an oracle deck, with playing cards. You know, I highly recommend that you have a crystal ball, a gazing ball. If you can't afford a gazing ball, a clear glass of water should always be there when you're reading with a lit candle. The lit candle should be on your left-hand side, while your glass of water should be on your right-hand side. Again, when I have La Bola de Cristal and I'm consulting for a client, I always have a 7-day candle or a candle, usually on my left-hand side, the crystal ball there, incense somewhere in the back, and then I read the cards here in around this area, this location. Another thing to focus when you're reading or you're divining with your crystal ball is to cut it in half and understand that the left side of the crystal ball, when you cut it in half, would be feminine energies or feminine influences or female or a feminine spirit guide, while the right hand side would be masculine energy, masculine spirits, okay, or a masculine influence. So remembering that the left hand side is of a feminine energy, feminine spirits, creativity. Over here would be logic, would be hard work, emotions, work, logic, masculine and feminine. Feminine spirits, masculine spirits, feminine emotions, feminine energy, masculine logic. That would be on this side of the crystal ball. Whenever you see that I'm consulting the cards, you will always see that I'm blessing the cards. Usually with my hand, I do a real, quick blessing of the deck. And I always have this phrase that I say in Spanish when I'm going to consult, whether it be with la baraja or la bola de cristal, and it's en el presente. Voy adivinando desde el pasado hacia el futuro. Constantemente mis seres me dan la facultad para ver el más allá. Anyways, this is Sancista Brujo Luis. I hope you enjoy my channel. If you do like this video, please leave a comment down below. Please subscribe. Please hit that like button. Leave a comment. It lets me know that you enjoy this video, or if you dislike the video, what would you like to see me do a video of? Please share in your favorite social media. Much blessings, much love. This is Sancista Brujo Luis. Fuerte abrazos. Santo Sanse. Como decir, grande, si es bonita, si es fea. Pero si hace reguero con esa nieve. My goodness. I think it's gonna be. Jesus Christ, that's a bone one. Shut up. Holy shit. Wow, that looks nice. Look at that, for half the price. Y el base.
Pesa, ¿sabes?
Yeah, it's a nice size. That's a nice size.
Yo creo que esta base es cerámica. No, esto no es cerámica. Esto es... No sé lo que es.
Qué linda está la base. Eso es resina.
Sí. Ya.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Pero no es que esto llegaba.
Ponla a ver cómo se queda ahí. Wow, that looks nice. De que limpia. Qué linda. Qué linda.
Just thank you.